Welcome back. This is Extratime on Gagasi FM, proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bet. Uyazi ukuthi football has changed kakhulu nje futhi njengoba uzwile sikhuluma noMike ukuthi ziningi izinto esezibhekwa ke if you wanna sell or buy a player, especially kulesikhathi samanje. Joining us on the line ke la ku Extratime on Gagasi uSinasipho wakamale ke former Kaizer Chiefs head scout and also currently working for Bafana technical analyst, and also ke kuninga kwenzayo in terms of European Scouting Association. Ingakho ke sesamukela yena la ku Extratime on Gagasi. Sinasipho, welcome to Extratime.
Ngiyabulela futhi wami, ngiyabingelela kuwena nabaphulaphuli kanjalo emakhaya. Thank you for having me.
Kuyaphileka konke yonke into ihamba kahle?
Yeah, my brother. Kuyaphileka siyancenga mntaka mama ebholeni. Isikhathi sokuphumula sikho, siyasebenza ngesinkodwa sikhalaza ngoba senza into esiyithandayo.
Ngiyazi ukuthi wena, that's why we call the right person, which is you. You've worked in this department. How has the football changed, especially from being usuku yohlala phansi kwesihlahla and scout players to now introducing technology kuyona leyo part yokuscout ama players?
Yeah, 100%. The game has advanced so much that the involvement of science, the involvement of technology in football, not just science and technology involved in the aim for it, but also how science and technology can be used to enhance performance in football. How can it be used to also enhance the recruitment process, or the scouting process rather, within football. So yeah, this is one of the main visions that we have, is to try to close the gap between us and the rest of the world from a technological and scientific ways, where the rest of the world is in Africa.
One may say ukuthi ezinye izinto eningi siyibona from European clubs and associations, but if ubheka ke now, how far are we as a country in terms of using technology, in terms of acquiring services of such players?
Yeah, interesting question. I think we are still miles behind.
Yeah.
Honestly, firstly, to understand the importance of specialization areas or specialization fields within football, such as performance analysis, technical scouting, sports science, and a whole lot of other specialization areas that support the coaching process in football. So I really think that there is a need for us to try and accelerate that process of educating abantu bethu within South Africa, ukuthi bayonolwazi olungcono when it comes to these areas of specialization, not just to raise the awareness, but to also make people understand that there's opportunities within the fields of specialization where people can make a career out of. Not everybody is going to be a coach on the touchline, but there's also other areas of specialization that support the coaching process, such as analysis and scouting, and which even former players can venture into in order to advance their careers beyond their playing careers.
Sinasipho, it's Mike McCabe. How are you?
Oh, Mike, I'm good. How are you doing?
I hope it's not a surprise, but Simto and myself have been on this show together for almost a decade. And I follow you avidly on social media because I'm deeply interested as an older person, deeply interested in new technology. You know, often we get left behind because we're scared of change. Let me ask you this question, because you obviously have spent a lot of time investing your own time and effort into building knowledge related to science in football. And do you find that, and we're generalizing here, so we're not pointing fingers at anyone in particular, do you find in general younger coaches are more open to new technology and the changing methods of recruitment, analysis of games, etc., than the older coaches, those that are more set in their ways?
Yeah, certainly. You know, I think I like to have references, and if you look around the world in terms of some top clubs, for example, I'll make an example about the coach of Dortmund that took them to the Champions League
Yes.
He was just a performance analyst before. He became a coach, and he has shared a lot of the great methods that they used to really help them to enhance their performances in the Champions League last season. Using a lot of technology and a lot of science at a very advanced level to be able to enhance their performances and for them to get to the level in which they are at. The reality of the situation is that you can also see the trend with some top clubs in terms of the type of coaches that they're bringing. It's coaches that also understand and embrace the importance of working with technology, working with science to try and improve their performances. So the reality of the situation, Mike, is that if one does not move with the game leaves them behind. And I believe the coach of the future, if you look at the trend right now, the coach of the future is a coach that is advanced understanding of technology and science in football.
And I think, for our listeners' sake, there are so many aspects of technology. I think you can help us through this process. Starts at training, where a whole series of things are monitored, taken into the game, where a whole series of things live during the game are monitored, and then post-game, where you've got this wealth of information that has been gathered to basically check on your past performance, that whatever you're available or whatever's available at your fingertips in terms of science and technology in football, you utilize to your advantage.
100%. And I think more than anything, it's always, like I said in the beginning, it's not just science and technology for the sake, but it's about how can you use different methods and tools that are technological and scientific to support performance. And once you support performance, you enhance performance of players and teams through those advanced methods. Then you are able to try and improve the performance of the team, and hopefully, ultimately, football is about winning matches, and then hopefully have that to impact in winning matches, and that for me is important. You talk about training analysis. If we were to put it in context in terms of principles of analysis, we'll call that pre-game analysis. So things such as training analysis are important. From a tactical point, you'll see analysts recording training sessions from a wide bird eye view to ensure that they cover as much information as possible. Science proves that humans can only remember 30 to 50% of the actual event after it has happened. So it means immediately after the game or training, 50% of what actually happened as it happened coaches and people in football do not remember it exactly as is. So this is where now the importance of recording training sessions using different tools, drones, cameras, tracking players' physical performances in training sessions with things like the GPS come in, because all these elements together, they're able to eliminate that human limitation of not recording key events that happen during training, so that a coach can be able to further analyze and relook at their training sessions to see what areas to still improve and to still work on. So there's different methods and there's different tools that assist clubs in terms of training analysis on its own. We have not even gone to match preparation, which is your opposition analysis, and your in-game analysis, which is what happens during the game in terms of analysis. We just start now on pre-game analysis, which is what happens at training. And so these are very, very important ways to be able to move your coaching process not to be less subjective and rather to be more objective, so that you as a coach, you can make better decisions.
Let me ask you this question. You don't have to answer it, but it obviously affects my business as a football agency. So in the past, we were able to extract data from scouting platforms, Y-Scout, Insta-Scout before they were taken over. Obviously, there's been a fallout for real reasons between the Premier Soccer League and these data-based companies.
Data providers, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
A Y Scout to be specific, yeah.
Yes, okay. Now, doesn't that affect the information that football clubs worldwide can gather on South African footballers? Doesn't it affect the national team's ability to gather those details? Yeah. And shouldn't that be addressed as a matter of urgency, in your opinion?
Yeah, 100%. I know this for a fact because I spend a lot of time in Europe, and I'm also part of the Global Scouts group. We have founded scouts all around the world, and we discuss things every day in terms of talent, market, etc. You know, and I can tell you now. For example, some of my classmates from UEFA Elite Scouts from high level, those that are saying to me, but we were taking this player in South Africa, the data has disappeared because the matches have been taken off the platform. So it has a massive impact, because if you have a leading scouting platform such as Y Scout, and not being able to provide data on our local league, it has a massive impact in terms of the monitoring of our players, potentially for Europe, but also it also has an impact in terms of, like you say, the monitoring of players also in the national team. So it's something that hopefully can be addressed. However, there are other platforms that are providing a similar service, you know, in terms of covering the local league and all of that, you know. But of course, you always want to have it with the leading providers, where a lot of top clubs are already on the platform and using those platforms as their scouting tools.
And I'll tell you what. I'll tell you just my last little bit of input. I'll tell you what is frustrating is the fact that technology in our country is so well suited to provide that sort of thing for the rest of the world, whereas a lot of African countries battle with that sort of technology. We have it at our fingertips. I think sooner than later, we've got to resolve these issues, because it's preventing clubs in Europe from having all of these stats of South African footballers at their fingertips.
Yeah, this is Extra Time 1840. Sinasip, I know Guti, there's someone at home listening who's very interested in this topic, and I've seen you've been doing classes around, you've been to Gqeberha. Is there a way which you guys are coming to Durban?
Yeah, he's got to come and visit us. What are you talking about?
Yeah, on the 19th and the 20th of September, we are hosting a second edition of our football analysis and technical scouting symposium in Durban. Yeah. And I must say, we launched it 2 weeks ago. The response has been a little bit disappointing, considering the fact that there was so much interest. Yeah. You know, so we are hoping that more people will come, because we have, and I like this question by Mike talking about global scouts. Yeah. We are bringing the global talent ID lead from Arsenal, Andrew Moshini. Andrew Moshini works alongside Ateta. He's going to be one of the presenters in our symposium that we are hosting in Durban on the 19th and the 20th. So it's 2 days. The first day is about performance analysis. It's myself presenting. Sean Bishop will be there in person. Mushine Tukral as well will be presenting on the first day, just about different methods of performance analysis. The second day, we then have Tera Maliwa, who's the head scout of Kaizer Chiefs, recently appointed from Sundowns, also presenting alongside Andrew Moshini, who's the global talent ID lead for Arsenal, and also Brendan Forey from Stellenbosch. So this workshop is happening at the Hilton Garden Inn hotel in Mhlanga, 19 and 20 December. It's only 5,000 rand for anybody who would like to be part of it. And if they want more information on it, they can follow our pages at SM Sports Consulting. We are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, and also on Facebook as SM Sports Consulting, or drop us a WhatsApp 0817172948, 0817172948, and they can inquire further in terms of how can they be part of this first of its kind African football international symposium that is focused on ensuring that there's a high awareness, there's advancement in terms of knowledge in Africa, closing the gap between us and the rest of the world. Our main vision is very clear with SM Sports, is because I've traveled all around the world with different national teams, World Cup, AFCONs, and I can tell you now that for us to close the gap between us and the rest of the world, either in terms of development of talent, recruitment of players, and to be able to again get back to where we can have players playing in the top 5 leagues around the world, we need to ensure that these are some of the things that we are able to deliberate on, and to understand what are the international scouting trends, what are the demands of international markets in relation to the needs of talent. So this is very, very important for South Africa, and we hope that we will from now have a little bit of a better response from the people of Durban, because we are bringing the first of its kind to Durban. And also, we've just got confirmation of the FC Dortmund international chief scout as well, who's going to be also joining us, discussing in terms of international trends and how they integrate players at FC Dortmund from youth level to the senior level.
You and Lerado owe us a studio visit next time.
Definitely. That can be arranged.
Thank you so much.
As soon as I come back from the international break with Bafana.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us namhlanje with Extra Time.
Ndiyabulela Butwam. Thanks to you, and forward to more conversations. Goodbye.
Thank you so much. Usi Nesipho Wagamali joining us namhlanje with Extra Time. Wazi ukuthi ke technology sithathe over kakhulukazi kwi football yethu. So kwenze njani ke nathi ukuthi sizame to close that gap. This is Extra Time on Gagasi, proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bet.